Hi, Dara.
Hi, Breiffni. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good. Come here. I might actually just turn off the camera, or no, actually I'll leave it for a while. But my internet speed mightn't be the best, so there might be some point that I might need to actually turn off my camera and just go with audio, if that's all right.
That's grand. Yeah.
No problem.
No bother. That's fine.
Perfect. So just before we start, I'll just give you a quick script that I'll just read you out just about the data, about your data rights in this and at the purpose of this interview. So data, this interview is being recorded for data collection purposes. The information you provide throughout this interview will be stored internally and not made publicly available. The information and data gathered from this interview will be used for the development of the jumpAgrade platform. And the purpose of this interview is for me to gain a greater understanding of you as a primary user of the jumpAgrade platform. The interview should take no longer than 30 minutes, or 30 to 40 minutes, I'd say. And it'll consist of questions relating to you as a person, you as a teacher, your relationship with technology, your use of the platform, your objectives, and your pain points. I do have a script of questions to ask, but they're not completely strict, and they're more just a guideline for me. I might divert from the script if something is worth exploring a bit more in detail. And at times throughout the interview, I might take some notes, but this is being recorded for me to analyze later. So my main objective here is to just ask you some questions and listen as much as possible to your answers. And even though it is an interview, it's completely informal, it's a conversation more so. So just try not to overthink your answers too much. But what is important for me is that you try,
No bother.
Is that you try to avoid answering questions in a rose-tinted manner. So just be as honest as possible. So when you're speaking about how you would use a specific product or technology, try to speak about what you actually do as opposed to what you would do. And finally, if there's anything you're not comfortable answering or talking about, we can just move on to another question or topic. Is that all right?
That's perfect, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so first section of questions is background and ethnography. So what is your name and your current occupation?
So the name is Breiffni O'Sullivan and the current occupation is secondary school teacher.
And do you work full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Sorry, just a bit of a sidebar. I wrote all these questions before the pre-COVID, so when you're answering them, I'd say a lot of the context will be pre-COVID, but I may talk a little bit about what the changes.
Okay, grand.
Okay. So, Breiffni, how long have you been in your current job?
In the current school, I've been there for 3 years, and teaching-wise, it would be 6 years.
Okay. And what was your original qualifications?
Original qualification was a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Arts in English and Geography.
Okay, and where did you get that qualification?
Mary I in Limerick.
Okay. And why did you want to become a teacher?
I love that question. I suppose in terms, no, I always got on with kids anyway. I kind of had, I suppose, a bit of practice around it because I used to teach English to Spanish students as well. So I suppose initially I didn't want to become a teacher, but then when I branched out and got a bit more experience in it, I realized, yeah, I actually do like it. And the fact that I have a love for English and geography, I kind of paired the two of them together and said, you know, they match. So I could do that. So that would be, you know, the main reason why I wanted to do it. For the love of the subject and for, you know, I suppose, for want of a better word, getting used to working with teenagers, really.
Okay, fair enough. And could you describe kind of what your typical weekday looks like? So obviously pre-COVID, what would your typical weekday look like in work?
So we'd start at 8:50 every morning, and we finish at 3:40. We've half days on Wednesdays. So, you know, I have a full-on timetable. I have 22 hours. I'd see students up from first year all the way to sixth years. And then sure, we have the extracurricular activities then after that, you know, after school activities. I'd supervise study as well on Tuesdays, which would bring me up to 6 p.m. And yeah, that would be kind of the working week, really, what it entails, you know.
Okay, and then do you have any hobbies or interests? And what, you know, when you do get a bit of spare time in the day, what do you actually like to do in your spare time?
When I do get spare time, I suppose I just go to the gym and yoga as well. But you know, it's kind of full on corrections and all that, you know. So I suppose pre-COVID it was tough, but now, you know, finding more of a routine with it. So yeah, that would have been it, you know, where I could, when time allows, I have my own free time.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, that's kind of the end of the ethnography section. Just to move on to general technology kind of questions. Are you comfortable with technology, do you feel?
Are we talking pre-COVID now, yeah?
Yeah, in general, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be fairly confident with it, yeah.
And that's interesting, the fact that you brought up the idea of being pre-COVID. Would you say that since COVID has happened that you've kind of improved your abilities with technology maybe?
Well, I've been more, I suppose, yeah, I've been more reliant on it. And that was, you know, we used Google Classroom and that was our way of communicating with the students and for the parents as well. So, you know, we could, you know, pick up a phone and ring the parents, but it was more so through emails and Google Classroom that everything was, you know, communicated through. So I'd be more reliant on it this time than I would have before COVID.
Okay, fair enough. And kind of what is your overall relationship like with technology? And what I mean by that question is what tools are you using in both your job and just in general throughout the day? You know, what websites and apps are you using and what tools are you using, whether it's a laptop or a tablet or a phone?
Yeah, so it would be both laptop and phone, and then in school we'd have the computer and the laptops. I suppose the most used thing online would be Google Drive for me in my work. So Google Drive, Google Classroom, Gmail, all kind of the apps within Google. We kind of do use them a lot. Now in terms of, I suppose, apps as well, like we have a zero phone rule in our school, only brought in this year. So beforehand, I used to use, like, you know, Socrative and Kahoot and those kind of apps. But I suppose we can't really use them now. We do have iPads in the school. I haven't used them yet. I wouldn't be 100% comfortable with them using them as, I suppose, a tool for a whole class group. But they are available to us, you know, but we have to book them and all that because there's only one class set available. So yeah, that would be my experience with it, I suppose.
Okay, fair enough. And kind of, what would be your favorite tools, you know, websites and apps to use then, both as a teacher in your, you know, both in your profession and just in general, like what are your favorite websites and apps that you do use?
I suppose, well, being an English and geography teacher, there's a lot of Facebook pages set up by teachers who upload resources and activities to their drive, so to say, and we actually have access to that. So I'd be, you know, an avid user of that, you know, just to make life easier. And as well would be, you know, the Google Drive as well. We use that all the time. I use it personally as well as, you know, as a teacher as well. So it's all there for me. Those, you know, they'd be the two main ones that I'd be accessing.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's great. And just to move on then to your kind of relationship with the jumpAgrade platform, kind of what's your like overall opinion on jumpAgrade, both the platform itself and just the system that it runs on? Just what's your overall opinion about jumpAgrade, really?
Yeah, the platform we use, it's good, but there is room for improvement. And I suppose I kind of highlighted that to Susanna at the early stages. I suppose, especially when I got busier with, say, 20 plus students. So the interface, you can only see 5 students once you upload the work. But after that, then if you want to upload or add a worksheet, that student's name has gone to the side, so to say, on the screen, and I can't see it. I zoom out so far, but still I have a number of students who I can't see at all. So I suppose I need to rely on Susanna and Dave maybe a bit to upload worksheets for the students. I can't upload all of them, so I need that help. And I'm using my laptop for that as well. I've never used it with my phone. It's not, I suppose, phone friendly, I don't think.
Yes.
I wouldn't be able to, you know, create really the worksheets that I want on my phone anyway, so I do need the laptop to use that. But generally, overall, it's good. They're just the blips that I've kind of encountered myself.
Okay. But like we'll say as a you know, as a platform for students and just the overall idea of what jumpAgrade is, do you feel it's a good way of tutoring or?
I suppose, having used Google Classroom, I think that platform is user friendly for the students. You know, if they have a question, they have to go through Dave or Susanna, and then they have to go to us with it. So there could be a delay, so to say, between the middleman and then getting to me. Like, I think Google Classroom would be the best because the students are free to ask questions. You know, it's just basically your students in your section as well. So, you know, it has its pros, but, you know, there's also better options as well for that.
Okay. And how many students did you typically tutor for? So obviously you're talking pre-COVID here and before the Leaving Cert might have been cancelled. How many students were you tutoring?
Pre-COVID, yeah. So pre-COVID, I would have had, I'd say, 15 or 16 students.
Okay. And were they
and then
all...
now.
Yes, talk away.
Oh, sorry, now I would have, like, I suppose when the COVID happened, it was like 22, 23. And now since Leaving Cert was cancelled, I'm down to 2. So there's a big jump.
A big difference. So was a good 20 of those 22 students, they were all Leaving Certs, were they? Jesus. Okay.
There was maybe 2 or 3 junior certs, but they kind of left. They were kind of, their workload was sporadic. They didn't really upload anything. Leaving certs mostly, yeah. There was established Leaving certs. There was 1 LCA and there was 2 fifth years.
Okay, fair enough. And so, could you think so when you were at, we'll say, pre-COVID levels, when you had 16, I think you said 16 to 18 students, I believe?
Yeah, 15, 16, I think, yeah.
Sorry, 15, 16. Could you think how many hours in the week typically that would have taken you, you know, how much that would have taken up for you?
See, I dedicated Monday evenings to that. So I probably start when I got home around 4:30. And it would take normally around 2.5 to 3 hours with those students. And the 16 or 15 of them was around 3 hours altogether as Monday evening.
And like, are you saying that you were able to correct, provide feedback and provide a new worksheet for all 15, 16 of those in 3 hours?
Yeah, around 3 hours, yeah.
Wow, that seems quite efficient, really.
It was, I suppose, yeah, it's because I had a number of 6 years, and I tailored the topic really to suit myself in a kind of a selfish way, just doing the revision, so I could have copied a worksheet, just change the name and whatever, copy the worksheet for them. And some of the feedback videos were very much, there's no name mentioned in them, so I could have used that video again and copied it for another student as well. It took time in terms of personalizing feedback videos.
Yes.
If they had a specific question, whereas if it was open, I could have used the same video for 2 or 3 of them. So that's, but I learned that the hard way, because it was very slow at the start. I kind of got into the groove of it after a few months, I suppose.
Okay, fair enough. And how do you actually go about creating a worksheet? What's your process when you go to create a worksheet? Not necessarily for one student, but just in general.
So I use Microsoft Word for that. So, I have them all saved on my desktop there in the laptop. Change the date. The format of the worksheet is very much, it's the same for all of them. The only thing that's different is the questions I give them. So, a lot of the work has been kind of taken out of that. So I get the questions from like study clicks or on the exam papers online as well. And I just, copy and paste them onto the worksheet then.
Okay, and which do you actually prefer? Do you prefer taking from the state examinations website or from study clicks?
Study clicks, because it's easier to navigate, I think.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And do you find the content on there to be just as good as the state examination stuff as well, or?
Yeah, it is. There's actually more on study clicks, like there's sample answers as well, and there's links to kind of Quizlets and things like that. If you're searching for a particular year, particular question, it's easier to navigate it on study clicks than it would be on the state exam website.
Okay, fair enough. And then when you're actually providing feedback, then kind of what's your process in providing the feedback? Like, what's the kind of first thing you look for first? First of all, what is the first thing you kind of try to look for when you're going providing feedback? What do you like to see on us when the student gives, hands back a worksheet? What do you actually look out for first?
So when I'm correcting their worksheet, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So essentially what I'd look for, I look at it overall in its entirety, and I would give, my own opinion on the grade. And then what I would do is in each section, I'd go down through what they did well, what they can improve on. Now they don't want the feedback videos to go over 5 minutes, I think 4 or 5 minutes. So, I am kind of under that time limit, which is fair enough because, 4 minutes, you do kind of get bored of the video anyway. So, I picked 3 things really that they did well, or 3 things that, they may need to improve on, just to get the focus there for the video. So they get their results and they get their feedback in terms of what you did well and what you need to do better in the next time.
Okay, and we'll say the technical process then of providing the feedback, like, could you just kind of talk me through the actual technical side of what, do you type up your feedback first, or do you, or then you just jump into the video? What kind of way do you do it? And then, like,
yeah,
do you find any issues then relating to, like, do you find any issues creating the video and uploading it? Do you find it any bit of a hassle, I guess? Sorry, that's quite a loaded question.
Yeah. No, that's grand. So the way I do the feedback is I usually have a refill pad in front of me, and I write their name and their result. It's all handwritten, and when that's done, then I would record it on my phone, at the iPhone anyway. So I record it there. They have actually what do you call it? It's like a stand for your phone. You can clip it in. I forget the name of it. It's a phone grip basically. So that's kind of hovering over the notes I have. So I'm talking down through it once they're written. And then once I have that recorded, I then upload it through Google Drive on my phone. So it'll be up there for, the students to see then after that. So I'm kind of flipping in between using my phone and using the laptop as well, because I find it difficult to share a file on my phone with said student, I find it easier on the laptop to do that and to sort my own files on my desktop then as well. So I'm kind of using both when I'm giving the feedback.
Okay, and do you kind of find this a tedious process, or do you kind of, are you pretty used to it at this stage? Is it not much?
Yeah, I'm pretty used to it now. Yeah, I'm pretty used to that now. At the start, I found it difficult. I couldn't get my head around how am I uploading it to my drive. Like, I was even emailing the video to my email to try and send it over to the Google Drive for jumpAgrade. But obviously, you know, I figured it out after a while. There was obviously an easier way. So I got that, I'd say, after a few weeks, which kind of sped up time as well. But no, I'm definitely 100% used to it now.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And okay, and so what do you actually like about using jumpAgrade, you know, as a platform?
Jesus, tough one. I suppose I can see when the students have uploaded their work. So I get a notification through my personal email say such and such has uploaded work. You can, you know, they're like that's actually, to me, that's a tough question, like, because it's clinical, like, you know,
Yeah.
the outline of the jump grade, it's very clinical. You know, you have your students all there, you have how many things they've after uploading, which is great. So you know, right, okay, I'm going to have to correct 5 pages of work here or only one. Like, it works, it does work, don't get me wrong, but you know, I would prefer using other platforms for myself. Maybe that's just because I've been using it flat out for the past few weeks and I only use jumpAgrade once a week. But yeah, it is good in terms of, you know, information is there about the students. The work is uploaded, you get a notification. That's all I can think of right now, to be honest.
Okay, that's fair enough. I might kind of slightly come back to that later on in a different section, just about what your
Yeah.
suggestions would be. But just to move on then to our next section is just kind of your main objectives and motivations. So with this, so why did you kind of initially sign up to tutor with jumpAgrade?
I suppose I was doing grinds anyway, like visiting people's homes and giving the grinds or whatever, but I was looking for extra income at one stage because grinds was kind of slacking off. So I was kind of Googling things like grind tutors needed, you know, the local community boards, and I came across jumpAgrade online. So that would have been, you know, an incentive. So I found out about it and said, you know what, even though it's €10, it does add up. So, you know, I wouldn't be, you know, not wasting, but I wouldn't be dedicating, I suppose, a few minutes to driving to a house and then driving back home to my own house. You know, that could have taken anywhere up to 1.5 to 2 hours, and saving on diesel as well. So, you know, I thought it was a good idea. And it's worked out for me anyway.
Okay, that's good. And actually, how long have you been tutoring with jumpAgrade?
I think since the end of October, start of November, I
Okay,
think.
yes, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
That's fine. And then kind of, what's your main objective when tutoring for a student? What do you like to see them improving on week is kind of what I mean by that.
Just taking on my feedback, really. I'll take, for example, an English student, you know, if they're writing an essay, and, you know, I give them 3 points of, you know, areas for improvement. It's even seeing them take on, you know, a piece of advice that I gave them, because sometimes they don't listen to any advice and they think, you know, sure, we're all students, like, you think what you're doing is right. But when you see it in the following week's work that's uploaded, the fact that they've listened, you know, you think, okay, well, this is well worth doing, and the way I'm doing it is kind of working for them as well. But again, that just depends on said student really as well.
Okay. And have you ever kind of struggled with a student taking on feedback? Like you say, have you ever kind of experienced a student that's maybe just the tutoring process isn't going as well as you hoped with them?
Yeah, like I said earlier, like sometimes the uploaded work would be sporadic from some students, especially the junior certs. They might upload a worksheet, I'd say once every 3 weeks. So it's kind of frustrating for me in terms of I have to do a video for a feedback video to show them how to do the work I assigned them. And that could be ongoing for 2, 3 weeks. So it's kind of, it's annoying really, but and there's some students who are adamant that they're correct in what they're saying and they're not taking on the advice as well. They're just the two kind of, pet peeves I have with working with them.
So when you say the sporadic worksheet uploads, obviously you mean that they're not actually filling out a worksheet and handing it back, but yet you still need to provide you still need to provide a video on how to actually do the worksheet, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
And
you don't have
you need
anything to
to
correct them on. Sorry, you don't have any you can't show them where they went wrong because obviously they didn't hand back a worksheet.
Yeah, basically, but you also have to change up the worksheet as well, give them a different question. Whereas I feel like I can't progress through the course if I move on to something different. I need them to answer this. So that's kind of, it's frustrating at that because, you need to make a new video worksheet or video feedback to show them how to do it, and then another. So it's almost, it doesn't sound like it, but it's almost creating more work for me. I prefer the students who submit the work on time, like any teacher, I suppose.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And so, Breiffni, what is the main reason you have continued working with jumpAgrade until now?
The extra income. I'm not going to lie, it is the extra income, and I'm actually surprised that I still have 2 students still submitting work. Even, today I have to do work for them, but one of them is an LCA and one is a transition year student, which I was surprised about. So, it's extra income at the end of the day. So I think that's why I'd be doing it.
Okay, that's actually that's very interesting that you would transition your students tutoring with you at the moment.
Yeah.
Just to kind of sidebar on that, what work are you giving that particular transition year student?
Well, see, I only found out they were a transition year this morning, actually. So I've been assigning them leaving cert work. Do you know? I've been, I've been going through, like, I've been in the depths of 6th-year work with this poor student, and they're still navigating through it fine. Which is great. So I need to check with Susanna again to make sure that they actually are a transition year. Because
Wow.
to me, it sounds bizarre that a TY would actually be doing all this work. I think they're
Yeah,
mad, to be honest. But anyway, yeah.
I didn't do a tap of work when I was in transition year hardly.
Not at all. No, not at all. It'll be school, isn't it? A waste of time with summer as well. Wouldn't be bothered. Yeah. So I need to check in with Susanna again and see if they're legit TY students. I think they're opting to sit the leaving cert the way their work rate is going.
Yeah.
So I better check up on that again.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So just we're on the last section of questions here. We don't have too much more to go. Your pain points question. So this is the more negative aspects of the whole platform. So what do you dislike about using jumpAgrade? You might have already touched on some of this before, but if you can think of more, that the more you can give me, the better the outcome will be really for it. So yeah. What do you dislike about using jumpAgrade?
So I suppose the 2 things really that I can think of at the moment are, one, that if a student has a question, it needs to go through the admins like Susanna or Dave, and then they have to come to us. They can't, answer or ask a question directly. And vice versa as well. We'll have to go through Susanna or Dave, and then they'll get the answer. So there's a delay in getting a response from your tutor. And the second one would be the interface itself, where I'm not able to upload some worksheets for students because they disappear off the screen. Even if I zoom out, I have to send the worksheet then to Susanna for her to upload herself. So maybe the 2 main ones. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And have you ever tried looking for a solution to those challenges yourself, or a workaround or anything like that?
I suppose I tried to like upload the worksheets myself, you know, zooming out all the way as far as I can. I think it's to 25%. If I go any lower than that, I won't be able to see who I'm uploading to. And the thing with, you know, responding to students, I haven't really, because I thought that was, you know, a policy they had that a student couldn't directly contact their tutor, which is understandable, but given the circumstances, you know, I think that might be something to consider moving forward.
Yes. Okay. And when you're creating worksheets, then is there anything that you find difficult about creating worksheets each week? Is there any pain points with it?
No, they're fairly grand. I use the snipping tool for a lot of it anyway, so you know it's fairly easy to use for me anyway. Yeah.
Okay, and providing feedback as well, is there anything difficult about that?
No, it's grand. It's fine.
I suppose your only kind of difficulty then, like you say, is if they're not submitting work and you just kind of don't have anything to work off. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. And just kind of lastly, what do you actually think would improve jumpAgrade? And just to kind of follow on this, you did mention that you think there is a better way of doing it. So what exactly is a better way of doing it? I guess really is what I'm asking here.
I'm no professional at it, but like, you know, maybe something like Google Classroom, you know, where you can upload assignments for them, you can upload additional material. That's actually another thing I forgot to mention. I usually add on additional material like sample answers and things like that. So I have to create a new folder in the drive for that and send them a link, etc. So maybe, you know, to have for each them to have their own Google Classroom section, you know, so that everything I upload is there for them, you know, instead of sending links the whole time for Google Drive. I think that would be more beneficial for them and for me, really.
Yes. Okay. You think it would just kind of streamline it more so?
Yeah, yeah. Keep it all together, so to say.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's great. Look, I'm actually after going through pretty much all the questions here, so you know.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I've gone through everything here. I don't think I kind of have too much more to ask really.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I'm kind of done here. So Breiffni, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you coming on the call here this morning with me and
no bother there, yeah.
questions. I mean, hopefully the aim of this is that I still have a couple more people to interview, and the kind of aim of this is to just try and get a greater understanding of what you all feel about it and where improvements need to be made, I guess. So no, thank you for your insights, and hopefully I'll be able to make improvements going forward.
Great, yes, perfect, Dara. Thanks a million for that.
No problem. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay.
Bye.
You too, bye.